Before we start with our story, let us go through the reasons for which someone might want to improve their English vocabulary. Well, we know that English is a global language and is almost used in every part of the world. So, if you want to communicate easily with people in almost every part of the world, then you must have some familiarity with the language. Also, if you're aiming for getting a higher education from countries like Australia, United States, Canada, and England, etc., so you need to know English because they require you to take exams like TOEFL or GRE or IELTS, etc. All of these test your English language and English vocabulary. And well, in the end, someone might want to improve their vocabulary just because they're a person of linguistics and they're interested. Okay, now there are a number of ways to improve your vocabulary. Reading is the most important tool for it. When you are reading newspapers, magazines, novels, you are improving your vocabulary exponentially. And when you communicate with people using these new words, you help your brain get a hold of these words for a very long time and maybe even for a lifetime. Another way to learn new words is through mnemonics. It is like mnemonics are ways or sentences or words through which you can help your brain grasp the meaning of a new word. For example, despot is a dictator who exercises absolute power. So a good mnemonic for despot would be someone who is desperate for power. Okay. Now another way to improve someone's vocabulary is through stories. Now there are two types of stories. The first type is where the entire story revolves around just one word, and the second category of the story, short stories, is where a short story teaches you a number of words, like a lot of new words. So this channel mainly focuses on the second category of stories. However, you might see stories of category 1 on this channel in the future. Okay, the vocabulary building story that we are going to go through together, I have named it as Hollow Happiness. Why hollow? We shall learn that by the end of our story. Here's a list of all the words that we aim to learn through this story by the end of this video. Now I want you to take a paper and a pen, draw 4 columns on it. In the first column, write down all of these words. In the second column, I want you to pause the video and just assume what the meaning of every respective word might be, okay? In the third column, I want you to write down the meanings of these words that you will comprehend from the story. Like when we are going through the story, when you encounter any of these words, I want you to just comprehend their meaning in the context that they have been used, okay? And finally, in the fourth column, you will write down the actual meanings of these words that I will tell you by the end of the video. Let us start our story. Chris is a well-known model. He always looks debonair and has a perfect face. He can slay with his smile. Chris has everything one could wish for. A coterie of girls craves for his attention. He seems to have it all. He has a witty sense of humor but remains compendious about his personal life. He loves loud and raucous parties. It looks like he wants to dissipate himself into that lifestyle. Every weekend, he holds such parties at his place. His house is filled with Baroque furniture. He spends every weekend night getting lost in a crowd of people as if he fears loneliness. The morning following every party night, Chris makes himself a cup of coffee, amply applies butter to a toast, sits on his German-style dining table, and gets lost in his past. Nobody knows that his life is a facade. Beneath his charming personality is a morose soul. He remembers how disconsolate he was after his mother's death. Every year, he vacillates whether he should celebrate or mourn on 15th of June. I hope I have built suspense for you, like you want to know what happened on 15th of June, but I want to take a break from the story and I want you to please subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and share this video so that it will encourage me to keep writing these stories and keep making these videos, and in that way I can help you grow your vocabulary. So please go ahead. Getting back to our story, Chris's mother Mary was a beautiful woman and had a very noble soul. She deeply loved Johnny, Chris's father. He, however, didn't seem to be a good fit for Mary. She was a university student while he was a so-called omniscient palmist and womanizer when they first met. He conned men and lured women by telling them what they'd like to hear. That is exactly how he made Mary fall in love with him. Chris never understood why his father married his mother. Perhaps he too was at some point in love with her. But with the passage of time, Johnny's love faded away. A person can never change his nature. Hence, Johnny also never changed. He had many affairs. Although Mary was a dowdy woman, love had made her weak. She tried talking to him on several occasions, but his acerbic tongue hurt her. He was profligate to spend money on himself and his many girlfriends, but parsimonious to fulfill the needs of his wife and son. Therefore, she was harried to work 2 jobs to provide for Chris. Mary, who was once full of life, now looked anemic. She had lost all the colors of her life. One night, when Chris was only 16 years old, Johnny came home drunk while Chris and his mother were enjoying some contemporary music. As Johnny went to his room, Mary followed him. She had told him multiple times not to come home drunk as it will have a negative impact on Chris. When she said that to him again, he became bellicose and started yelling at her. Chris stood in the living room not knowing what to do. Johnny said to Mary that she is an antiquated piece of trash in his house and has an ugly face. This shattered Mary completely. Chris couldn't gather up the courage to talk to his mother, so he just went to his room. He could hear her soft sobs from his room. The next morning, on 15th of June, when Chris walked into the living room, he saw his mother laying on the floor, lifeless and with an empty bottle of sedatives in her hand. The police came, and after investigation, it was confirmed that she had indeed committed suicide. Chris didn't know what to do. He ran away from his house and went to the ad agency where he worked as a spot boy and was struggling to get a chance as a model. Surprisingly, he got his first break the very same day and was made to do a shoot for a calendar. He stood there absent-minded and with a numb body while his photos were being taken. Later that day, instead of returning to his own house, he went over to a friend's place. When his photo shoot got published, he became a top-notch model. Now, he has a big house and is extremely rich, but his mother is gone. It all feels useless to him. To this day, he never drinks or intermingles with random women. He believes these hobbies kill the humanity of a person, just like his father had lost his humanity. His insensitive behavior forced Mary to commit suicide, and these traits were complicit with him. Drinking, cheating, and the acerbic and waspish tongue of Johnny cohesively murdered Mary's happiness. He looked at his watch. It was 9 in the morning. He knew it was time for him to get back to his charade. I know it was a sad story, but let's just not forget the fact that we are here to learn high vocabulary English words. So let us go through the meanings of the words that were used in the story. So the first word was debonair. Chris has a debonair personality. He is confident, stylish, and charming. He has a nonchalant behavior. He is lighthearted and carefree. Another word was slay, which means to greatly impress or amuse. Another word was coterie, where a coterie of girls craves for Chris's attention. It means a small, exclusive group of people with shared interests. the synonym being clan and gang. And another word was witty, which means quick and inventive humor. The synonyms are humorous, smart, clever. Chris has Baroque furniture in his house, meaning characterized by extravagance or flamboyance, fancy or lavish. Another word was dissipate, which means to spend wastefully or foolishly. It means disperse or scatter. He likes raucous parties, which mean disorderly, rowdy, noisy. Another word was compendious, which means concise and comprehensive. The synonyms are abridge and epitome. Okay, so one word in the story was amply, where Chris amply applies butter to his bread. It means generously or more than adequate. The synonyms are abundant, plentiful, and another word was facade. Facade means superficial or artificial arrangement. The synonyms are show or simulation. Okay, so the next two words, morose and disconsolate, are basically synonyms of each other. These both words are used to express the depressed, sad, and hopeless condition of someone. So they both mean sullen and gloomy, and their other synonyms are cheerless, depressed, sad, hopeless, etc. Okay. Vacillate means to hesitate in choice of options, meaning waver and wobble. Another word was omniscient, having infinite awareness. This word is usually used for God because only He is known to have infinite awareness. The synonym being all-knowing. Another word was con. Chris's father was a con. He persuaded people for something by lying to them. It means swindle. He also used to lure women and tempted them by offering them a reward by saying to them what they needed to hear. So it means temptation. Chris's mother was a doughty woman. She was brave and persistent, resolute, determined, fearless, but love had made her weak. Profligate means wildly extravagant, meaning being carefree or careless with your money. The synonyms are prodigal, spendthrift, squander. Another word was parsimonious, unwilling to spend money or using resources. The synonyms are niggardly and miserly. Chris's father had an acerbic tongue, meaning sharply or bitingly critical. The synonyms are sarcastic, cutting, um, yeah, scathing, etc. Mary was harried to work two jobs to provide for Chris, meaning feeling stressed due to demands persistently made on one. The synonyms are harassed, devastate, attack. Another word was anemic, which means lacking spirit. The synonyms are pale, weak, feeble. Chris's father became bellicose. He was inclined to start quarrels, which means pugnacious, quarrelsome, scrappy. Chris and his mother were enjoying contemporary music, which means something of the present, modern, or current period. Johnny's comments shattered Mary completely, meaning to damage badly, annihilate, extinguish, smash. Antiquated, meaning old, from Stone Age or rusty. Antiquated, when something is antique, usually its value increases. You can find antique objects in museums. However, this word has been used in an insulting, a bashing manner in this story. Okay, this is something that you need to keep in mind. Another word was sobs, meaning weep with convulsive catching of breath, meaning bawl or cry. Another word was sedatives. These are drugs used to calm or tranquilize nervousness or excitement. They are not over-the-counter drugs and are available only through a doctor's prescription. So the synonyms are comforting, dreamy, narcotic, soothing. Cohesive, meaning united and working together. Sticking together, united, the same. Another word was charade. This is a synonym for another word, facade, that we previously studied. Both of them mean to put up a show, to present something in a deceptive way, or to present something in a way that it not truly is. Um, the other synonym is disguise. Complicit means helping to commit a crime. When someone is complicit with a criminal, they are also punished by law because they helped criminal commit a crime. The synonyms are deceitful and cunning. Chris became a top-notch model overnight because top-notch means of highest quality. Synonyms are excellent or superb. As you may have guessed, why Chris's happiness is hollow. Uh, for some of you who do not happen to know the meaning of hollow, it means having an empty space inside without real significance or value. So, like in this life, people want to have money and all the resources and promising future only when they have someone to share all of these things with. So Chris's happiness is hollow because the person he loved the most in his life, his mother, she committed suicide and she died. She's no longer with him. As you may have guessed, why this marks the end of this video. I know there were a lot of words in the story, but I promise you, if you were to go through the story a couple of times, you would get a good hold of these words and try to use them in your communication and in your stories, in your essays that you write, and you will tend to remember these words for a very long time and maybe even lifetime if you keep using them. Okay, so thanks for watching.